So this is kind of just a fun mashup of random stuff. So I decided to try the whole moss trick to dig a tunnel. And you see it all over as a way to mine, but to be honest, it sucks. Like, it's really not faster than just a good pick. It's kind of fun though. I mean, and moss blocks are kind of neat, so. I dug a big hole and 2 paths through a mountain, and they don't actually go anywhere. And then zombies punched me. So it was a fun experiment, but it's not really nearly as useful as people make it out to be. Random task number 2. Building a raid farm. I thought it would be a good idea to start with this, and ENX04 has a really simple design. He has 2 designs. I should have built the second one, because the first one, it's very easy to do early game, but it doesn't really get you that much stuff. And yeah, I'll definitely say, if you have iron armor or an iron sword and you don't have sweeping edge yet, you may have a bad time of it. So I tried to originally start it with that, and yeah, I got murdered by Vex. You put boats in there so they spawn into the boats, so if they get created, but if they spawn enough of them, because you can't take down the evokers quickly enough, you will run out of boat. Or maybe they just missed the boat, I don't know, but my loot got exploded everywhere, so you know, that was a thing. It was fun to make though, and it's useful later, even if I can't use it very much right away. And it is a really clever design, because you basically need nothing. I actually had to go mine for redstone. I hadn't mined anything, so I had no redstone to actually build it with. It turns out I could have just traded with a potion guy, but I didn't actually know that. So that'll be like the last redstone I bothered to mine for a while. I do need to come back and do the second design at some point, and then also just in generally improve the quality of life of it. I don't think I'm going to stick around in this area. Then job 2 was to grab a villager. Turned out there was actually a pretty close by village. It's like one of those little safari ones, so you know, that was the struggle of getting them in the boat and then managing to get the boat somewhere else, and he's running around, and yeah. See, Mojang, you think they're like really random in their development, but turns out they're very, very clever. They make villagers so irritating that you do not feel bad sticking them in a box forever. Then it ended up with some problem. I think his workstation was still valid, even though he was miles away from it by boat. He still clung to it, so he didn't want to take the new workstation, and it took me a while to work that out. And I couldn't find my way back to the actual raid farm area at first. There's a water path to and from the village, and one to a outpost as well, but my word, I have no direction sense. I need an elytra at some point, because yeah, this is a problem. I just do not have any directional sense at all. But yeah, I got the little villager over there, so that was fine. The shaders are really weird with the boats. It flies around. But we put him in his little box to live. And everything kind of works, mostly. Good enough. Got a little nearby raid post. Yeah, you get enough of them, they do some damage. I kind of died over here at some point, but I managed to get away this time, so works out well enough, and gave it a little test. Of course, the raid farm itself actually killed me because, yeah, sweeping edge is not optional, and that wasn't clear to my dumb self. Neat river to go down, though. I like that everything's kind of connected river-wise. It's sort of actual real life terrain. Minecraft's really come a long way from having snowy biomes next to deserts. Granted, the hottest part in the US and the coldest part in the US are actually very close together. They're in the same place. A fun thing. So it does happen, but it's not common. Oh, and then we've got some use out of this. It's just such an interesting thing. Ian Exo4, man, that guy is just an absolute Minecraft genius. He's so humble about it too, because he's like, oh, you know, he just talks about how his designs were based on figuring out the mechanics from how other people did it and sort of trying to simplify it. And, you know, just very humble in that, the fact that, you know, anything one person creates is kind of built on that which came before them. You know, right all the way back to probably the first cave drawing, you know, but it's kind of just nice to see that somebody acknowledges that, despite the fact that they're so good at this stuff, and all of us benefit, you know, from everything they've done, because I do appreciate his designs. And yeah, so, and then firing away, next random task, wanted to build a little bit of another path. Got that going. It is very spooky up here, but it's nice, and it just makes life so much easier to get around. Actually, my method of getting around in the Nether is based on Final Fantasy VII. There was a point where you could only put down 3 little posts, and you get lost in a blizzard. So I just put torches within sight of each other so that you can, you know, about a chunk apart, so you can just kind of follow the torch trails, and you can usually see them from fairly far away, so if you get lost on the nether roof, you're not just completely trapped there forever. That's my little technique for it. I'll make another hub at some point, but not today. Because next up is Slime Farm, because, I don't know, I probably will need slime at some point. And this one is Logical Geek Boy's design. It's really simple. It's honestly really effective too. There are ways it could be made more efficient, but it's kind of one of those things of you could, but you don't need to, so why bother? It's just easier just to go with a simple design and not overly complicate it. And later I tried to complicate it before, and it did not end well. I made like a giant slime farm, and its rates were garbage, and I still don't know why. And all the joy of trying to wrangle the iron golems. For years, I only recently realized you could use leads on them. If I had known that years ago, I just had no idea. I was always pushing them into place in the past, and I have made some huge slime farms that went all the way from the spawn chunk down to the bedrock for them, which I think was like layer 40 to bedrock, which is a further journey today than it used to be, but still. I have done it, and I'm pushing them into place for every layer, and then it's like, yeah, this works just fine with just one of them, and you can use a lead, and it's much easier, and it makes plenty. If you have the ability to AFK overnight, you're fine. It's so ridiculous. But, you know, that's my motto. Why do things easy when you could overly complicate it? Oh man, that's like all of my relationships. That hurts a little bit. I probably shouldn't put that in this. Oh well. And then, last random task is I am tired of eating potato. Potatoes are just garbage food. Minecraft could really use a patch that just balances the food, you know, based on like how easy it is to obtain, because like cookies stink, but they're hard to make. You have to have ingredients. But the best 3 foods in Minecraft, for anybody not knowing, the golden carrot, which restores a lot of hunger, but also does the most saturation, which is just the hunger bar part 2 that you don't see, which I really would like to find a mod that lets you see it. It'd be kind of useful. It's just basically hunger overflow, so that it takes longer for the bar to start going down. Steak is like number 2 on that, but it's harder to automate that, just in the sense that you can kind of automate a cow farm, but with a cow crusher, or there's cow cookers too. But there's always that manual effort of having to fill in wheat and cramming a bunch of entities or mobs and pathing in one spot. It's not that great. But here we have option number 3, which is almost as good as the other two in terms of food quality, and it's way easier to farm. Another logical Geek Boy design, super simple. Using the 1.16 mechanics, you can scare the ever-loving crap out of hogs in the nether, and they just run into a fire and cook themselves. It's incredibly useful. It's the best food source I have honestly managed to find. I've made huge industrial farms in Minecraft before, and this just outright beats them all. I've made a castle in the past that the entire surrounding was all the various crops and farms and things like that, with as much automation as you could get into it. And this just absolutely dunks on all of it. You just light it up properly so only they can spawn in there. It keeps everything else out. Those mushroom fungus things they're scared of drives them into the center, and they'll path through the trapdoors. I can tell you, if they ever change the whole trapdoor pathing thing, it is going to ruin so much of Minecraft, and I am terrified that Mojang will do that one day. They'll be like, yeah, we wanted to make the mobs smarter, so yeah, we changed the pathing so they won't fall off things as easily anymore, and it will be a sad, sad day for Minecraft if they ever did that. I don't even want to I'm slightly hesitant to even say that out loud. I don't want to give them any ideas if somehow it ever filtered back to them. It never would, because nobody watches this. But, God, that would be just an entire horror show. Because so much of the fun in Minecraft is based on just manipulating mob AI. And this is one of the best versions. You can make one layer of this thing and it will just fill an entire grid worth of double chests. And you can stack it up a few layers, and basically in no time at all, it'll just make just all the food you'll ever need. If you stack up layers, it'll just make all the food your server ever needs. It's freaking perfect. And it looks cool too. I actually like the way it looks. I will maybe come back and make a staircase upward though, because it is another one of those make a giant tower up in the sky kind of things to AFK with only the one little bit loaded to spawn. But still, it's cool, and I like it, and it's a good design, and, I really appreciate the people who come up with these things, because it certainly makes my less creative self a lot happier. Because I have made custom farms, but they are never as good, not even close. So this is fantastic. These are my various random events done, because I am just tired of needing materials and not having them. And more farms to come. One of these days I gotta build a base, and I keep saying that, and I'm maybe one day I'll build something resembling a base. I've built a not base that's actually just a portal room, but hey, one day. And well, that's it for now. Have a good one.